It's Oscars night and we are breaking down the biggest moments, Coda's history-making win, plus we're going inside Will Smith's controversial night.
It's all coming up right now on The Tape.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special Oscars edition of The Tape. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister, and I am here with our good friend, Angelique Jackson. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We're so excited to have you.
Listen, it was an incredibly exciting Oscars, and I am very, very excited to give my take on it.
Yes, so of course, Clayton is not here. He is still at the actual Oscars. Angelique is filling in. Again, we are so lucky to have her. As you said, a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. We have to start off by talking about the moment that everybody is talking about, Will Smith. Will Smith won his first Oscar tonight for Best Actor, winning the prize for King Richard. But the moment that overshadowed what should have been the biggest moment of his career was when he walked up on stage, he smacked Chris Rock after he made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and then he yelled at him from the audience. This moment took everybody by surprise. We have spoken to people who were sitting in the room, our colleagues at Variety, and they said everyone was shocked. People did not know if this was staged. We have now found out through reporting this was not at all staged, but it also wasn't even planned. Rehearsal happened, of course, the day before, and Chris Rock did not make this joke, so it was really an on-the-whim joke. We saw on Twitter, but also some of this on screen, producer Will Packer went over to the table. Denzel Washington went over to speak to him. Tyler Perry spoke with him. Tiffany Haddish was also there. A lot to get into. What do you make of this, Angelique?
So this is, I think, honestly, the most devastating moment of the Oscars. I will start first by saying that, even watching it at home, we all thought, oh gosh, like this must be some sort of bit because of the way he kind of smiled and walked back after. I mean, he's an action star, for goodness sake. We know he can kind of fake a hit. But then it quickly became clear that it was all real, that everything that happened, the emotions got the better of him. As you mentioned, Denzel Washington was among the people that went over to him. He mentioned it in his 5-minute acceptance speech, saying that when you're at your peak, that's when the devil tests you. And unfortunately, this was a moment that Will Smith failed that test.
I couldn't agree with you more, and you said it was the most devastating moment of the show. I also think this is the most devastating moment of Will Smith's career. Before the show, when we were all giving our predictions, I said on the red carpet, it is insane that Will Smith doesn't have an Oscar yet. How does this man not have an Oscar? He deserved one time and time again. And now this is what his Oscar win will be remembered as. And this is also going to be a huge stain on an illustrious career, but also it really became the moment of the night. So people afterwards, like Jessica Chastain and Jane Campion and everyone else who won an award after, nobody was paying attention to it because they were talking about this moment. And that's just really a huge loss for the biggest night in film. Clearly, his emotions got the best of him. He did give a very raw and heartfelt speech, which I really appreciated. You could tell that he was even shocked by his own actions.
As a Black man, as a Black actor, he has really been the epitome of Black excellence when it comes to Hollywood. And it means that you don't get to have a human moment. You don't get to mess up. And in particular, you don't get to do it in a room full of white people. He has really worked his entire career to be accepted by everyone. And in this one moment, he basically was just another Black man from West Philadelphia. That's what people saw in that moment. And it's really hard to kind of sit and watch that because I know how important he is to our community and how heartbreaking it was for myself, my family, so many people who are fans of him to watch that, because you sit there and see this be a situation where this is what people think of us already as Black people. And now it's our best proving it with his actions. At the end of the day, this tarnishes Will Smith's otherwise truly illustrious career, but I don't think this is the end of Will Smith. I think this is just a dark moment.
Will Smith is human and humans make mistakes, and I am sure we are going to hear more from him. This was obviously deep-rooted, and I am sure that there will be more to come. But let's move on, because as we were watching, we were also saying it felt like this did really overtake the night, but the only thing that could really make this better was Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli, and then a major moment for Coda.
Absolutely. I mean, after all the air had been sucked out of the room for the majority of the show, it really did bring it all back to life to see Coda's 3 Oscar wins. We got a Best Picture win, the first ever by a streamer, this one coming for Apple. Then Sean Hayter also won for Best Adapted Screenplay, and Troy Kotsur won Best Supporting Actor. You know, it really has been a just piece of joy for everyone watching. This is a very heartfelt film, and it's one that has brought people a lot of happiness. And even that moment on stage, getting Ya Jung-yoon to kind of sign Troy's name. We've been talking about inclusion, we've been talking about diversity when it comes to the Oscars. And a really important part of that is the intersectionality of it, is really making sure that we are including everyone. And that really was kind of what this win for Coda signified.
Absolutely. And that was my favorite film throughout award season. So I was so happy to see them take the big award of the night. I know that quite a few of us here were predicting it, including Clayton. We have to give him a shout out. And I just loved that moment with Troy Kotsur going up on stage, seeing everyone in the audience signing to clap for him, to cheer him on. It was such a beautiful moment. And I really do feel like we saw a lot of beautiful human moments throughout this show, and I really enjoyed the show. But Troy Kotsur and Coda, that was certainly not the only history-making moment of the night. We also saw Jane Campion win for Best Director for Power of the Dog. That was their only win after having the most nominations of the night with 12. Jane Campion had already made history as the only woman to have 2 nominations for Best Director, and now she won. We also saw Ariana DeBose win for Best Supporting Actress in West Side Story. She is now the first openly queer woman of color to win an acting award. It really was just such a great night. Now, I know that pretty much everyone was predicting that Ariana DeBose would win, but I saw her on the red carpet before. She was just radiating. I thought her speech was magnificent. So congratulations to Ariana. This is just the beginning of her career, a pretty good beginning to win the SAG, the Globe, and now the Oscar.
I mean, every precursor award went to Ariana, and I do think it is also important to note that, you know, she mentioned it in her speech, that she mentioned being an openly queer woman of color. She felt like in that moment, I need to say those words out loud because those words have power. She also, of course, called out to Rita Moreno, who was 60 years ago the first Latina to ever win an acting Oscar for, of course, the same role as Anita.
Absolutely. And you actually just got me thinking of another callback. Troy Kotsur actually called to his co-star, Marlee Matlin, who was the first deaf actor to win decades ago. Now he becomes the second. And while this is so great that we're talking about these history-making moments, it also shines a light on the fact that we shouldn't be saying these are history-making moments. The fact that Ariana is the first, it is 2022. The fact that Troy Kotsur is the second deaf actor. These should not be monumental, statistic-making moments. We should be normalizing this, so I look forward to seeing more inclusion and more representation in Hollywood.
Yeah, the hope is that this is not just going to be this year we are focusing on American Sign Language and having, you know, a special telecast for the Oscars to include the deaf community. The hope is that this is the first of every Oscars doing that. Change is slow. Let's all be very honest about that, but change is as long as it continues, as long as that train keeps going, we're at least moving in the right direction. But now we have to turn to some of our favorite moments of the Oscars.
Let's get into it.
So mine, of course, was Beyonce. Queen Bee. It doesn't get much better than opening the Oscars, and for her to do it in Compton, the home of Venus and Serena, to have her daughter, Blue Ivy, as part of the show, and also to have the young stars, Sanaya Sidney and Demi Singleton, also a part of this massively huge performance, just goes to show that we are really focused on, you know, moving this train forward, that it's about the next generation and continuing to just kind of pave the way for people to continue to be excellent.
Absolutely. Who didn't love Beyonce, right? That was quite the opener. Now, I also loved the host. I mean, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, Regina Hall, in my opinion, they killed it. I was laughing out loud. I thought they were hysterical, but also this reminds us why we need a host. We haven't had a host at the Oscars. Please, we want hosts. I do not want a hostless Oscars again. I would love to see these 3 women back.
Absolutely.
Also, they could each host on their own. They each really held their own. We're stronger together. And there's nothing we love to see more than women supporting women. You are a woman who always supports other women. I love you. Thank you for joining us. Will you come back again?
Oh, I'm always up to give my take.
All right. Thank you, Angelique. And thank all of you for watching. You make sure to come back here to The Take. Of course, this is a special Oscars edition. For the rest of your Oscars coverage, make sure to go to Variety.com. But per usual, we will be right back here every Friday on The Take.
Bye, everybody.